What's up, y'all? Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's get a little spicy. So, I decided to do a standalone spicy corner because I wanted to talk about Drew's interview with Carlos King, as well as some other things that I saw hit the blogs. Okay, so let's get into it. So, first up, you guys, let's talk about old Real Housewives news. So, not really old, but people who are associated with the show but no longer a part of the show. So, first up, Candy. She was doing an Amazon Live and she revealed that Aunt Bertha, who gave us one of the most iconic reality TV lines, it's a scheme set up by Todd to bring you back to Bull. And y'all know I reference her all the time over here. Well, Candy basically let us know that she has Alzheimer's, and you could tell that she was struggling talking about it, and it sucks. Alzheimer's and dementia is such a terrifying disease to me, in my opinion, is because people lose themselves, and you have to learn how to grieve early because you have to learn that that person that once was will no longer be here in the I guess mental sense, but physically they will be. And then you have to learn how to deal with that person who you used to know being a new person. And I know it's terrifying for the person actually going through it. I hope, and I know there's still research, but with this administration, they cutting funding and everything. We could have had a breakthrough, but I don't know how long that's going to happen. But my prayers go out to Candy and her family. So moving on, let's talk about Peter. So Peter turned himself in to prison. Now I know when I posted that one video in a spicy corner, Peter was hanging out with Charles Oakley, and I was like, "Ain't Peter in jail?" Well, Peter posted this on his Instagram. I'm getting this by way of Jay's reality blog. It says hashtag Peter Thomas has turned himself into prison. Hashtag RHOA. So he posted a actual picture of the FCI Miami, which I guess is the Federal Bureau of Prisoners. Lord, Peter. Okay. But this is the message that he posted. He said, "All my people told me not to post this, that I'm crazy if I do. I'm not crazy, just real as AFUCK. The first thing I must say to all new business owners, please pay your withholding tax. You don't want to be in the position that I am right now. The law is the law. It's not easy for us black men, especially in my industry. No bank fund, restaurant slash bar and lounge. We have to put this on us 100%. This is a new chapter in my life. It's called accountability and responsibility. My road to redemption. I have 3 black sons and I must lead by example. I also, for my 4 beautiful grandsons, this life ain't easy, but we're resilient and your granddaddy is a king. God bless. And by the way, I didn't just find God. He said found God, but I think he meant I didn't just find God in my times of trouble. I was raised this way. Love, PT." Peter, you could have kept this. Sorry, you could have kept this. For years, we've all kind of said you had some shaky business dealings. I do commend him in the sense of taking responsibility and saying, you know what, I effed up. I didn't pay my taxes. I didn't pay those taxes and now I'm suffering the consequences. I don't know how long Peter is going to be in there. Let me look that up. Let's Google, you guys. Google is your friend. How many years did Peter Thomas get for tax fraud? So, Google basically said Peter Thomas received 18 months of prison sentence for tax fraud. So, he'll be in there for a year and 4 months. I mean, I could give him credit again for taking accountability, but the whole I'm doing this to set an example for my sons and my grandsons. What about your daughters? What about yourself? At some point you knew you were doing something wrong. You probably just didn't think you was gonna get caught. But keep your head up, and honestly, Peter, watch yourself because you was an old man going to prison. Hopefully they have Peter in like, a safe area because prison ain't no joke. So moving on, let's talk about Angela. So Angela did an interview with Boss Up Online, and one of the clips that I saw that was being shopped around on Twitter, the interviewer asked her about Phaedra. She was asking her about the mid-season trailer, and I thought Angela's response was interesting. So let me play that clip for you guys.
I think people are going to watch that and be like, well, what do you mean, Angela? How could Phaedra Parks be coming for some clout?
First of all, and I am one with my husband.
Yes.
Let's start there. We are one.
Okay.
And the rooms my husband is in, she ain't in. And this levels to this. So we can just be clear on that. So when people say clout, they like, who are you? Who do you think you are? The rooms that I'm in, by way of my wonderful husband, because we're one. She's not there. And in addition to that, just everything that was going on in the show, I felt like if someone wanted to make a splash, you'll go. I was the only candidate. You know what I mean? Just based on performance and just based on just the authenticity of me, I feel like I was a top. And that's why. It had nothing to do with who has the most Instagram followers. It had nothing to do with who been on the show the longest. It was just people wanting to make their presence known. And it wouldn't have landed as well if she didn't attempt to do that on the person who was, working the hardest.
So part of the video got cut off, but basically the Boss Up interviewer was referencing Angela doing an interview. I think they mentioned page 6 when she was doing an interview with Virtual Reality T, where they asked her how she feel about Phaedra coming back, and she basically said that Phaedra wanted the clout off of her, was basically chasing clout off of her. And Angela's explanation makes sense in the sense of like Phaedra's coming back for the last 2 weeks of filming. And shouts out to one of my mutuals on Twitter. He posed a question, or he shared a conversation. That's what it was. He shared a conversation that he had with one of his friends where they talked about like Phaedra coming back for this season and how like this is probably the last time Phaedra can prove to the network that she works for like with an ensemble cast well. And I responded to his tweet by saying, yeah, to me, I feel like this is Phaedra's last chance of proving to the network that she is valuable, because she gave them nothing for Married to Medicine. And now you're over here on Real Housewives of Atlanta and you've been dogging out Married to Medicine, even though Married to Medicine has been one of their like staple shows. I'm just kind of like, girl, yeah, you're gonna have to prove yourself. And I feel like what Angela's saying probably has some truth to it. Like Phaedra was probably trying to like throw everything at the wall all at once to show them like y'all made the right decision by inviting me back. I'm where I want to be and things of that nature. But that's interesting because then I also saw a article that Phaedra did with, I think it was the New York Post, and she said this about the reunion. It says, Phaedra is ready for season 16's reunion. People love to try to put my feet to the fire, so I'm ready. I stay ready so I don't have to get ready, Park stated. So yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, you were only there for 2 weeks and you already are in battle with people. That's wild to me, which I feel like lends to Angela's narrative of feeling like, girl, you was chasing clout off of me, or you were trying to have an issue with me when there really was none, or you were trying to make issues between us to have something to talk about for next season. Because why would you need to be ready for the reunion? Why does your feet need to be held to the fire? You were only there for 2 weeks. So moving on, let's talk about Drew, because I have some thoughts. So Drew did an interview with Carlos King on his YouTube channel. It garnered a lot of buzz, okay? So I think the way that I want to talk about this, because I'm going to be honest, I did not watch the interview in its entirety. I just saw clips being posted all over the internet. Let's get the messy ones out the way first. So Drew was asked about Ty, and you know that's been a topic of conversation since last season. And they talked about Ty this season. Ralph saying that that was the reason why he filed for divorce, which I know is a lie. On Basketball Wives, Ming Lee and Ty are on the show together, and Ming Lee mentioned Drew's name, as well as I just saw a clip, and I'm going to play those clips for you guys, of Carlos King, and I think it's Carlos King, Dustin, and Claudia Jordan. They actually did an interview with Mimi, and Mimi talked about Ty being an opportunist. So the first clip I'm going to play for you guys is Drew's portion where she speaks about Ty. And this is what it says. It says, Drew speaks on her relationship with Ty Young. There was a lot of flirting and conversations. Ty was someone at the time that gave attention that I wasn't getting from my husband. Drew revealed that Ralph wanted an open relationship. So let me play that clip.
Made it seem like it was more than a friendship, that you guys could have been lovers intimately. What do you have to say to that? Were you and Ty ever intimate kiss?
Flirting, yes.
Okay.
A lot of flirting.
Okay.
I'm not going to say that there wasn't flirting. There was a lot of conversation. There was a lot of group hangouts. And for me, there were just certain things that I wasn't comfortable with, and not judging anybody for their sexual orientation. I just love my husband, you know? And so there were certain levels. Now, I can't help if, you know, Ty felt differently or how she felt. I can't speak for her. But for me, I appreciated the friendship. I appreciated the conversation. I appreciated the fun. I appreciated, you know, the distraction from what I was going through. And so much so, I mean, she was around. We hung out publicly. So I wasn't worried about people seeing us or people, but I didn't know it was going to get to this extent to where he would say the reason why he wanted to divorce was because of Ty, because that wasn't actually true.
I'm going to be honest with you. When he said that was the reason, I'm going to be honest with you. When Ralph said the reason why we're divorcing is because of Ty, I felt that Ralph wanted to find a reason to bring up Ty. And it goes back to what I saw a few episodes ago. I just felt like Ralph is determined to embarrass you. And he wanted that to come out the way it appeared.
I went through with Ralph over the 10 years of marriage. No one got to really see that pain and really see every detail of what he did to me. And I can promise you this, if a cardboard box would have came and showed me some attention, I would have given it, right? Ty was someone at that time that gave me attention that I wasn't getting from my husband. And I said it on the show. She was a really great friend to me that, like, as simple as put, laughed at my jokes, understood me, listened to me. And so to have someone that's supposed to be your best friend that you feel like you can talk to and tell anything to, I didn't have that. Before I ever met Ty, there was so much that happened that at that point, Ralph had moved out of the bedroom. I was speaking with the divorce attorney. He was asking for a divorce. We were in conversations of a separation. And yeah, Ty was there and a great friend. Flirting? Yeah. But like at the end of the day, we both have said it was a great friendship. And I'll still say to this day, we're friends. We're not enemies. But relationships come and go. Friendships come and go. And it wasn't what he was making out to be as far as he wanted this divorce. I was fed up. There was infidelity. There was pain. There was hurt. And I feel like he waited for a reason. He waited for a reason. And I feel like that friendship was that reason he hung on to, and he's still hanging on to, because I had an open conversation with him about Ty being a friend. He felt like it was inappropriate, so we didn't talk anymore. You know, I thought we were in a position to reconcile. And again, I have been met with him wanting an open relationship, him wanting to have other women. He's not still been honest. I was waiting when Portia Shamia asked, have you ever cheated on Drew? I was waiting for him to be honest. And he got choked up. And he just threw out no. And I'm like, okay, if we can see it, we can see that he wasn't being honest. But I was waiting for him to be honest, because until he's honest about what we've gone through, you can't continue to point the finger and try to play victim as though you were hurt when you already wanted the divorce. Even dating back to when we lived in Chicago, he wanted the divorce.
So here's the thing. I definitely feel like there was more that was going on between Ty and Drew, but I'm not mad at it, because Ralph was purposely withholding his affection from Drew. Like, when you don't laugh at somebody's jokes, especially when you know they're funny, you're purposely doing that because you want that person to feel stupid or to feel alone. Like, it's one thing to not laugh at a joke because you think it's not funny. It's another thing to know that the joke is funny, or know that that's how somebody is trying to like bond with you, and you just pay it dust. We've all done it before. I know I've done it when I'm mad at somebody, but to consistently do that to somebody over and over and over, they start to feel alone. They start to feel isolated in a relationship that's supposed to be two people. And then for Drew to admit that, if a cardboard box was giving me affection, I would have talked to them. So I definitely feel like more happened between Ty. Now, sexual, I don't know, but definitely emotional, because even when I was watching the clips from Basketball Wives, when Ming Lee talks to Ty and says like, girl, you were on the phone with her. The phone records show that you were on the phone with her for over 300 hours. That's a long time to be on the phone with somebody. That's the type of conversations you have from sun up to sundown. So y'all were definitely talking more about just what's going on in each other's lives. Y'all were actively flirting, and you even admit. So I do think that more happened when it comes to Ty and Drew. So after the interview Carlos did with Drew was like going around, next thing you know, he did an interview with, his new show with Claudia Jordan, Dustin, and Mimi Foss. So this is what it says. It says Mimi Foss believes her ex-fiance Ty Young is an opportunist, hanging around Drew. Her comings, here comes Ming, and now Basketball Wives. Keep on stepping on that ladder, girl. Slinging that little pussy everywhere. I get it. I said, oh, okay, Mimi. Mimi be talking so harshly. But let me play that clip for you guys.
Do you, Mimi Fowles, being in a relationship with her for how long was it?
Almost 7 years.
You were in a relationship with Ty for 7 years. Is Ty an opportunist who only dates women who are famous because of a come up?
After me, yes. I was her step on the ladder, and now it's, yes, 1,000%.
Why do you feel that way?
Track record. What? Look at it. The whole situation with Drew, and I know they want to say they're just friends, but I know different. And then she hanging around Drew. Here comes Ming, and then Ming, and now Basketball Wives, and it's just keep on stepping up that ladder, girl. Just laying that little bit around. I get it.
She's been on all 3 franchises. Like, she found vagina on all 3 franchises. Like, she found Basketball Wives, Love and Hip Hop, and Atlanta Housewives. Like, she's like,
yeah.
No, I'm not gonna make my joke, but she's
making them round.
Claudia censored herself. Congratulations.
I censored myself just now.
Proud of you, friend.
It was really hard to do it. I will say what I was gonna say in the group chat with you guys after this. But it was a good one.
Making the rounds.
So when it comes to Ty, do you think Ty ever really loved you?
Yeah, I think she did. I also think she had, she had her reasons why, I'll tell you this, and I should have taken heed when it was given to me. But like early on in our relationship, she told me that she was a fan of mine. This is when we had already started dating. So if someone that you're dating reveals to you that they were a fan of yours, she told me she was watching the show with her girlfriend, and the girlfriend was like, "Is this going to be a problem?"
Oh, oh! Somebody said Ty's going to be on Huntsville next.
Why would Carlos fall out laughing like that?
Love and Marriage Detroit. Ty Young joins the cast. Ty and Christina. Oh, there's a new divorce. Let me swoop on in and get with someone who's getting newly divorced. Let me be your comforter, girlfriend.
Listen, she's good. She's listen.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing, Mimi. I will like to end by saying this. Tomorrow, I am drop. You say what, Claudia?
He's gonna beat me up one day. She a big motherfucker too. She like 6'2" or 190, 200 pounds.
I'm watching Basketball Wives, and listen, I've met Ty because Mimi is my friend in real life, so I've met her once. Ty has swag, and Ty.
For sure.
Listen, I don't like women, obviously. Ty has. How can I describe it?
She seems really charismatic.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yeah.
Ty is very charismatic. I'm watching her on Basketball Wives, and she's very charismatic, like Dustin said.
Well, she should. This is her third reality show. I mean, she's a veteran at this point. She's damn near New York's level at this point. She's been on more shows in New York. Like, what the hell? New York's the queen of reality TV. That's her stage in New York because she's the queen.
You said Ty is the queen of reality television?
Damn near.
She's a veteran now. There are 3 different franchises.
So that is what Mimi said. She pretty much said that Ty is an opportunist. Everybody after her was an opportunist. But I do feel like a red flag is someone telling you, oh, I was a fan of yours, and then y'all start dating. I thought rule number 1 was you never date a fan. Okay? Well, Ty saw this clip going around, and so she hopped into the comments and said this: I pray I never become this miserable when I get in my 50s. SMH, I never spoke ill on Alum Remy after all she's done. So then a person by the name of Tina Thompson said, making the rounds is diabolical. What exactly is this called? Could have sworn you have over a decade career that based on actual talent. And Ty said, it's a smear Ty name campaign. Them two been doing this since we broke up years ago. And then Ty actually posted a video responding to Mimi, Claudia, mainly Mimi and Claudia, and the comments they had to say with Carlos and Dustin. So let me play that clip for you guys.
Child, my ex and that lady been trying to drag me since we broke up. This just shows their misery and not mine. I don't got nothing to do with that. Let them live their best life. Dad, don't even worry about it. It's so irrelevant. Like, whatever podcast or whatever they had, it's irrelevant. We've been broken up almost 3 years. Child. Pish posh.
So here's the thing. I can see both sides of this situation. On one hand, I can totally get why the girls would deem Ty an opportunist, because it kind of gives the optics of it, gives that. Like, you were with Mimi for 7 years. Y'all never got married. I was surprised when she said that was her ex-fiance, because I said, when did she propose? Where have I been? But I don't really be keeping up with the girls on Love and Hip Hop like that anymore. But you were with her for 7 years. Y'all break up. You started messing around with Drew while you were still with her. Mimi's pissed. She goes online saying that you a munch, that you out here just for the streets. Then Drew is saying it's not what it is, but it kind of is, given that it is something what it is. Then you stop messing with Drew, and now you're with Ming. And the thing is like saying that you used to be friends with someone and then all of a sudden the friendship stops abruptly, and it's like, oh, we really just don't have time for each other. And then we find out that Drew stopped communicating to Ty because of Ralph, because Ralph didn't like it. It makes me feel like there was more happening. So it does kind of give Ty wants to be in relationships with these women in order to keep her name in the public. So I could understand people feeling like, yeah, girl, it is given an opportunistic vibe. But on the other hand, I can see Ty's point of view where she's like, girl, we ain't been together, Mimi, for like how many years? We broke up several years ago. How am I an opportunist? And then when you think about the pool of like reality stars in Atlanta, everybody pretty much knows everybody at this point, On top of that, Ty is a WNBA. Is it WNBA? I think I'm saying that right. Or is there another N? No, I think it's just WNBA player. And she's very well known, which means she is going to have girls who have a certain amount of status and like fame to their name that are going to be interested in her and who she's probably looking for. I mean, that's why I could see both sides. But it definitely is given that, girl, you might have that streak in you. And don't get me wrong, Ty is very charming. I can see why the girls are into her. She's pretty, she's charming. Like, girl, if you got the gift the gab and you can make somebody feel special, you can talk them out their panties or their boxers, okay? And so I'm just kind of like, I get why the girls are into her, but it seems like Ming feels like she was right to question Drew and Ty's relationship because once that thing about Ty came out, it seems like Drew did another interview with another YouTuber by the name of No Chase TV, and he has a YouTube channel here on YouTube, and he asked her about Ming Lee and Ty and their relationship, and Ming actually spoke out against Drew. So let me play that clip for you guys.
And you admitted that, you and Ty had moments of flirtation, but nothing inappropriate, because you're still going through your separation and your marriage. However, on Basketball Wives, Ming Lee, who is surprisingly a friend to a lot of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, has said that was a bone of contention in her relationship with Ty, your closeness to her. What did you think about Ming Lee saying that was one of the deal breakers, was how close you were, considering all of that?
Another person grasping for straws in a storyline, but I get her. Because what else do you have going on? If you have to use my name, because she came over to Real Housewives, and she was coming in trying. You got glimpses, she was trying hard, and it didn't work out for her. So she just went on down there, down here. I was like, I got something to sell, I got something to say. Listen, she was never around when Ty and I were friends. She was never around, she wasn't around, they didn't know each other. And since,
And you admitted that.
They didn't know each other. And since, Ty and I don't speak as often anymore. We're still friends, and that hasn't changed, but we don't talk as often. It's just been a lot of life happening. So since they have been together, Ty and I have not seen each other. We don't spend time talking. I've been working on a whole album. So
yeah,
there's not enough minutes in the day that she's explaining that she is, alleging. It just wasn't true. And so, like I say, a lot of people get on these cameras and they feel like they got to say something that is going to get them a moment. And I'm sorry, I didn't know I was that much of that girl. I'm really clickbait. Is that what's happening?
Did you get a chance?
Obviously out, but it just wasn't any truth behind it. So they didn't know each other.
She wouldn't stop communicating with Drew, Sidora, somebody that you said you wasn't talking to. And if you want to talk to her, go be with her and leave me alone.
You say I have nothing to talk to
and I had
Drew
nothing
about.
to talk to. We had nothing to talk about. I'm not cheating.
Yes, you are. Having an emotional relationship with somebody.
So Ming saw this clip being shopped around, and she hopped into the comments as well, and she said this: at Ty Young 11, get your girl at Drew Sidora. You should just stop after doing all that lying on at the Carlos King _ podcast. I spared you once when y'all's was filming, and some of your cast told me to air your lying ass out. Here's the thing. I actually believe Ming. We know Drew has a funny relationship with the truth, and I'm not putting nothing past Ty. She's very charming. Girl, it gives you get around. And you was an athlete. Yeah, girl. And like Ming said, Ming is not accusing them of having a sexual relationship. She's accusing them of having an emotional relationship. And if it is true that she has proof that they were on the phone for over 300 hours, girl, then y'all definitely were talking about more than just oh, how's your day going? Y'all was getting into some things, which means y'all were calling each other regularly, maybe back to back, days in a row, talking from sun up to sundown. So I just feel girl, just be honest. Just be honest. But I can't give Drew a bone. Everyone keeps mentioning her. So maybe she said, she is that girl. Okay. So moving on from the Drew and Ty drama, let's talk about who the dream cast Drew would have for Atlanta. So Carlos King ended up asking her, who would be on your dream cast for Atlanta? And she said this. It says, Drew Sidora gives her dream cast to Carlos King. When asked if she wanted Shamia as a friend of, she said if Shamia can show us her full life thoughts. So she said herself, Kenya, Nene, Sheree, Candy, Angela, and Shamia. Here's my thing. I'm over Sheree. I feel like everybody else I'm pretty much cool with, but I'm over Sheree. We've given Sheree 3 opportunities, and each time she fumbles the bag. like 3 strikes, you're out. Kenya, I'm cool with Kenya coming back. Definitely would like to see Nene come back. I'm not the biggest fan of Candy, but I do value what she brings to Atlanta, to Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I would like to see her come back. Angela, having a good season. Shamia, I don't know. I really don't know, because I feel like Shamia to me has shown that she will, what's the word? She will be dishonest with herself to please other people. And after a while, I don't want to see that no more. I'm kind of tired of seeing it right now. But I do think it's interesting that she says that Shamia doesn't show us her full life. So I wonder, what is she hiding? Like, she's shown her marriage to a certain extent. Maybe that's what she's talking about, because we really haven't seen Gerald on the show, only through FaceTime, and we saw him at the party. And we've seen him in like 1 or 2 flashbacks, but we've never seen her have like an actual interaction with him the same way that Angela has with Charles. So maybe that's what Drew's talking about. But that's interesting. So continuing on with Drew and Shamia, there was a clip that I saw of the interview that I thought was interesting. So Drew speaks about the off-camera situation that happened with Angela, Shamia, and Drew when they went and got drinks. So it says this, it says, Drew says Shamia opened up to her and Angela about her issues with Portia not attending her wedding, not congratulating her on getting a peach, or taking her out to celebrate. However, she was worried that fans would see her as ungrateful to Portia if she ever addressed the issue. So let me play that clip for you guys.
We had a cocktail or 2, and she felt vulnerable. And I feel like she felt comfortable, and she needed to get this out. And so she was like, I need us to pinky swear, because what I'm about to tell you, I need to feel like I'm in a safe space. So we pinky sweared. I'm like, what's wrong, And she went on to tell us that she felt like, she needed to be real and address the issues that she has in a friendship with Portia. She went on to say how she didn't want to come across as though now she's got a peach and she's here and now she's going to tear down her friend who helped her to get on the show. She didn't want the fans to come for her in that way, to feel like she's ungrateful or a bad friend. So I can tell you, she was considering the fans and the look of how it would come across.
Do you think Shamia tired of being the background singer in Portia's life?
Yeah, I think that Shamia, first and foremost, is such a humble spirit.
She is.
Such a pure soul. I just love her. I just love who she is, and she's so dynamic, and she has so much energy, and she just seems like she puts on a happy front. Like, I'm gonna just be the life of the party. I'm gonna make everybody laugh, and she doesn't really get an opportunity to open up about who she is and how she's feeling, because she's never been in a position to. So the friend of the show, she became the friend in real life. The cheerleader on the court was the cheerleader that I think she was for a lot of people, but particularly Portia. So seeing her in this position, I felt like this was her opportunity to exhale and release. And I just felt for her, because I know what it feels like to be in a relationship, friendship, and you feel like you can't really speak your truth, but you want to clear the air, so hopefully you guys can get to a better place.
So here's my thing when it comes to this situation. I feel like there's like 3 fractions online. Either you're team Shamia, or you're team Portia, or you're in the middle. And I'm one of the people that's in the middle, because do I feel like Portia holds most of the brunt of why this relationship isn't good? Yeah, because we've seen time and time again on camera how you have not been a good friend to Shamia, and we've seen it play out on social media. Jessie Woo does her reviews, and she lives in Atlanta. We actually saw her on the first episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and she said that Portia didn't even show up to Shiloh's baby shower. And down in Atlanta, it's pretty much like a known fact that Portia and Shamia haven't been as close as they used to be. Like, they were seemingly on the outs or drifting apart. So it's just kind of like, yeah, Portia holds 60% of why this relationship is the way that it is. But the other 40, in my opinion, is Shamia. Because at the end of the day, when someone is not treating you the way you want to be treated. You said you're a self-proclaimed people pleaser. And I feel like when people put a title to something, they believe that absolves them for accountability or being responsible for standing up for themselves. Like, it's like, well, I told you guys I'm a people pleaser, so that absolves me from speaking up for myself. No, you're an adult. You could have told Portia how you felt. Honestly, if I was Shamia, me and Portia wouldn't be friends after you don't come to my wedding. That's it. That's all. Like, that's it. That's all. But Shamia keeps going back. And that's on her. It also is kind of convenient that now that the cameras are rolling, and granted, Shamia might have wanted to have conversations with Portia, and Portia might have been dodging her, but it does look kind of funny that you waited until the cameras pull up to now state all of your grievances. You know, so it's fault to me on both sides, but Portia holds most of the blame. And speaking of Portia, we then have another part of the interview where Drew speaks about Portia and this whole Dennis situation, where Portia, is alleging on the show that Drew basically says she wanted to sleep with Dennis. So this is what it says. It says, Drew speaks on her attraction to Dennis McKinley. I like biceps, not bellies. Drew says Portia was brought here to give us a life and a story that she wasn't able to deliver. Portia is not a girl's girl. She's not a good friend. She was a fan of my music before the cameras were up. Dennis would call her while we were at the studio. So let me play that clip for you guys.
You ever attracted to Dennis? Now, have you not seen my husband? I like a certain physique. I like biceps, not bellies. I really, no offense to Dennis, but the physiques are different. That's what I'm saying. The physiques are definitely different. No? Yeah? Okay. I'm just saying, I like my physique. If you know, you know. And if you see, you see. And if you know it's different, it's different. And so, it's just unbelievable to me. It's like, are we believing this? And I don't think people are believing it. I don't think you're believing it. I don't think the fans are buying it. I think that Portia was brought here to give a life and a story that she wasn't able to deliver. And so that is the reason my name is brought up in every scene, every episode, every moment, even in her confessionals. Portia was a fan of the music before cameras were. What do you mean? She and I had a conversation. And she said this on I want to say episode 1 and maybe episode 2, she definitely said we had a conversation. Dennis invited her to my birthday party. Mm-hmm. Why would Dennis be inviting you to my birthday party if you had no idea? So people gotta, what it really is that Portia and I had a conversation, and I told her about me working with Dennis. Let me back up, because when she was Mrs. Gubadia, reached out to her multiple times. Multiple times. I texted her multiple times. I called her multiple times. And what I know now about Portia is she's just not a girl's girl. And she's just not a good friend. So in my reaching out to her, she was busy off living her princess African life. And no one heard from Portia. She wasn't showing up. She wasn't around us. We didn't see her. We saw her on Instagram. We saw the life on Instagram that she was putting out there. And so therefore, that's what it was. And so I didn't get any return phone calls. It was not reciprocated. It wasn't reciprocated. I'm reaching out. You're not reaching out to me. When she heard about the divorce, she never reached out to me. When I heard about her divorce, I immediately reached out to her. But at a certain, she and I had a conversation. And she said this on I want to say episode 1 and maybe episode 2, she definitely said we had a conversation. Dennis invited her to my birthday party. Mm-hmm. Why would Dennis be inviting you to my birthday party if you had no idea? So people gotta, what it really is that Portia and I had a conversation, and I told her about me working with Dennis. Let me back up, because when she was Mrs. Gubadia, reached out to her multiple times. Multiple times. I texted her multiple times. I called her multiple times. And what I know now about Portia is she's just not a girl's girl. And she's just not a good friend. So in my reaching out to her, she was busy off living her princess African life. At a certain point in time, and I have the text messages, I was like, you need to call me. And she said, well, let's go to eat. I said, listen, she wanted to, what are the new girls like? I don't know about the new girls. I don't know anything. But I need to see you. I need to talk to you. Oh, not you trying to bait me. I need to talk to you, because I felt like it was something that was important to talk about. So she called me. We had a conversation. She's like, yeah, I know. I love the music. I love what you and Dennis are doing. We were in the studio, and Dennis will call her. Hey, girl. She knew what we were doing. She knew what we were working on. Dennis was like, she loves this track. She loves this track. What's Portia's favorite track on your album? All of them, child. All of them. Okay. She said the album is a hit. So when I saw her at Shamia's birthday party, I'm like, let's do some shots. Like, what's up? I was just so happy to see my girl. So when she came at me, that's why my mouth was open. And I didn't really... I was flabbergasted. I was so confused, because I'm like, we definitely talked a couple of times, and we've already talked about this. Because as a friend, I felt like it was important to do so.
So we have that clip. The next clip I want to play for you is pretty much the continuation of the conversation, where she's still talking about Portia, but this time she talks about Portia in relation to hanging out with Ralph, as well as the Angela Oakley Charles situation. So it says this: Drew said Portia filming with Ralph is where she crossed the line, and her comment about effing Charles is a new low. Angela forgave Portia too easily. So let me play that clip for you guys.
A joke about she been leaving alone to fuck her husband, and you saw Shamia, Kelly, and Britt, laugh at it and not say anything. And the married women in that pool is Shamia and Britt. Right. Mm-hmm. As a married woman yourself, if you were in that pool with them and you heard Portia make that joke, as y'all like getting buzzed, whatever, would you have done what the other girls did, or would you have said something?
Listen, when Angela woke me up after she addressed the situation, I was like, oh, no, we got to go outside. Who said it? And what did they say? I wanted to address it. And she was like, oh, I already addressed it. So for me, I obviously believe in the institution of marriage so much that I was like, even to the point where Angela has forgiven Portia, I'm still feeling a way about it, because I'm like, when you make those type of threats about someone's husband, that's not so easily forgivable to me. Filming with my, let's be clear, husband, for me, is where she crossed the line. I think husband's marriage is sacred. You know, you go before witnesses, your family, your friends, and before God himself. I just think it sits a little different outside of just the shade. You know, if you want to talk about, I made this innocent comment about your kids, but you're talking about someone's husband, the father of her children, I think that's a new low for Portia, and I would have definitely addressed it, and I don't think that I would have forgiven it so easily either.
You think Angela forgave Portia too easily?
Yeah, and I've told Angela that. I mean, you know, I believe in forgiveness, but I believe in people proving themselves in their apologies too. Because words are empty when you don't back it up with the action. So, you know, that's just my thought. But again, you know, that's Angela's fight. But I was definitely hurting for Angela, which is why I stayed even to be there for her.
So y'all know I don't like the term girl's girl. I just don't. Mainly because I've seen people use it in a way that contradicts what it's supposed to mean. Like, I've seen it be used as a dog whistle to pile on somebody. So when Drew said that, I said, girl, because my thing is, Drew, I don't think you were a girl's girl when you were telling Sanya she needs to have a baby by her husband because that's what he wants and that's her job. So what we talking about? Do I think Portia's a good friend? Not really. And here's the thing. I'm going to throw Portia a bone like Angela threw her a bone. I feel as though Portia had no problem with Drew and Dennis working together. I think the issue came in with filming. I really think that is her issue, that, you know, you filmed with my baby daddy and I didn't know anything about it. And granted, Drew might have been trying to tell her, but you know that was going to get underneath that lady's skin the same way it's gotten underneath your skin that Shamia and Portia linked up with Ralph and you didn't know anything about it. So it's like, in one breath, if you can be upset about that, then you should be able to understand why Portia was upset about you and Dennis working together. I do agree with Drew when she said Portia was supposed to deliver a lifestyle that she didn't. Like, you were supposed to come back as this African American princess jet setting across, you know, the globe, and girl, all you've given us is twerking, titties, and Hennessy. Like, you ain't really giving us anything, ma'am. So I get the whole, like, girl, she didn't deliver. I don't know. I wonder if Drew and Portia can ever come to a ground of understanding, but I don't know. A lot of people are feeling like this might be Drew's like last season because she hasn't been on Watch What Happens Live, which has been weird, but I don't think it's her last season. Maybe we'll see her in the coming episodes. The next clip where she talks about she believes in the sanctity of marriage and what Portia says was low. What Portia said was disrespectful AF. It was. But I also want Drew to stop acting like she ever cared about marriage when there's clips of you hanging out with Portia and Simon. Do you really respect the sanctity of marriage when you were okay with that? So it's like, you can't say in one breath, I respect the sanctity of marriage, but yet you were still cool taking pictures and being clicked up and being around Portia. You were even on Portia Family Matters saying, as long as my girl's happy, I'm happy, still being her friend. Now that y'all aren't friends, all of a sudden you respect the sanctity of marriage. You need to stop respecting it because your husband don't, and stop referring to Ralph as your husband, Drew, because that man don't want you and you shouldn't want him. Like, oh my goodness. But the last clip we're going to talk about and get up on out of here is Drew talking about Britt. And honestly, I wouldn't be talking about this, but Britt decided to respond to what Drew said. So let me play that clip for you guys.
What are your thoughts on Britt in general? Do you think she is somebody you would be friends with?
Honestly, Britt, I just don't see it for her here. I think she's better maybe for like a rags to riches type show, but Housewives, nah. She just doesn't want to live in her truth. As we see all these allegations around her husband and their marriage and then her, and then, you know, she's just not that girl. You know, I think she's beautiful. I would never take that away from her. And I thought that we could, you know, after our sit down. But no, it's a no for me. I think that she's just not a good fit for this circle of girls. I don't think she displays the integrity and the honesty and the truthfulness. And she just has a lot going on in her past. And her and her husband. Her and she. You know what I mean? Like, they have a lot going on. And I just don't think that they are the most transparent. I think they throw a lot of stones and hide their hands. Most transparent. I think they throw a lot of stones and hide their hands. And she's just very argumentative. You know what I mean? Like, she just comes across very angry. I think that in the Kenya situation, threatening somebody with a weapon, like she did. I've never dealt with anything like that, you know, coming to work and feeling like someone is just so calm and comfortable throwing around pistol and weapons and the threats that she did. And so I feel like, although I've said it time and time again, I don't agree with how Kenya handled it, I just feel like there needed to be a conversation, a reprimanding, so to speak, about that behavior. It was transparent. I think they throw a lot.
Britt saw this and she wasn't too happy about it. So this is what she dropped down in the comments and said. She said, Drew is the last person to be speaking on marriages when she has been going through a divorce for years. She needs to pray those court filings don't end up public instead of worrying about me. My goal has never been to destroy marriages for clout or a storyline. This show is about wives and Drew barely fits the bill. So that was her first comment. Now, I totally understand why Britt is upset. Like, Bravo is supposed to be like the upper echelon when it comes to like reality shows, like, and reality content. They get paid more. Like, it's supposed to be like quality reality TV. You know what I mean? So saying that she should be on Rags to Riches, which is on Netflix, and nobody was really invested in that show for real, I could totally understand why she's in her feelings. But where Britt loses me with this comment is saying that this show is about wives and Drew barely fits the bill. Girl, there's only 3 wives on this show. You, Shamia, and Angela. Kelly's going through a divorce. Portia's going through a divorce. If Kenya was still on the show, she's going through a divorce. Cynthia's been divorced 2 times. Like, what are we talking about, lady? So that wasn't even a good dig. So she continues on by saying, this was a disgruntled housewife fan, never met him a day in my life, but said he was an ex-friend of mine, LOL. He was in his feelings because of an interaction on IG and decided to look for clout, and you fell for it. He has been a housewife fan for years, in every housewife's comments, looking for a moment, so spare me. And what she's referring to is the guy that did that interview with Tasha K, saying that Britt Edie's husband was like a part of like these down low parties that he used to have. And I told you guys that he was like a known grifter out in LA. So I didn't really believe what was being said. But honestly, I don't know. I feel like we kind of know that Britt has a funny relationship with the truth. Same with me. I was about to call her Mia, Drew. But it's just kind of giving a lie off. Like, I don't really care. But I am interested to see the back and forth between Drew and Britt, because we already know that Drew is going to wrap Britt up. But maybe Britt is going to be like Phaedra and start consulting her friends to help her get her reads together for the reunion. But yeah, y'all, that's all I got for you guys today. As always, remember to be bravely authentic. Definitely hop down in the comments below and share your thoughts with me and subscribe. And I'm out, y'all. Deuces.